We're ready. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's executive committee meeting of Manhattan Community Board 11. My name is Xavier Santiago, and I am the chair of CB11. This meeting is officially called to order at 6:53 p.m. Tonight, we're joined by our district manager and government Scanlon. In order to conduct an efficient meeting, let's observe a few ground rules. No one may speak until granted the floor. CB11 members, if you have a question or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized. You should not engage in a back and forth discussion. The chair will recognize the next person to speak. Members attending via Zoom can find the raise hand button by first clicking the participants icon to access the panel where the button is located. If you have any technical issues, please relay your difficulty to staff in the chat. The chat should not be used to discuss or pose questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record. Please keep your questions and comments brief and on topic to the discussion. With that, we will take the roll.
Members, when I call your name, please answer present. Jose Moreno is excused. Stephanie Arroyo is excused. Adem Brihai is excused. Jessica Elliott.
Present.
David Giordano.
Present.
John Green here. Joseph Malave is excused. Nosa.
Present.
Xavier.
Present.
Isaac Stott is excused. Jason Villanueva. Present. Michelle Wilcher Clement.
Present.
Yeah, form.
Thank you. The agenda for tonight's meeting was distributed ahead of time by the board office and was posted on our website's meetings calendar. If there are no objections, we will adopt the agenda as stated. Board members, if you wish to object to adopting the agenda, you may raise your hand and wait to be recognized. Seeing no objections, the agenda for tonight's meeting is adopted. The adoption of the committee minutes. The committee minutes were distributed ahead of this meeting. If there are any objections, please raise your hand to object to adopting the meeting minutes. You may raise your hand or wait to be recognized. Being neither, the meeting minutes for last week's meeting are adopted. Any announcements? Any informational updates? The only informational update I have is from Borough today. The city gave their presentation today when it comes to economics. I know they presented at land use. They were going to come back 2 weeks of that. They said they found it very helpful because there's so many questions that are arising out of this text amendment. There are 18 positions. The borough president would like us to take a position on all 18 individually. We have through January to complete this task. So December and January, and then it will be voted on at borough board. So that's the informational update I have. No other. Oh, you do have a hand. Ooh, it is not there. Hand raised. Michelle, you have a question? Yes.
No, it's not a. Hi, it's not a question. I wanted to make an announcement for the Public Safety Awareness Conference on December the 1st at the Silberman Building on East 119th Street.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Michelle.
Thank you.
Great. All right, going on, we'll now move on to presentations and discussions. Seeing there are no more hands raised. Review of the draft agenda for the upcoming full board meeting. Yes, so go ahead. Everything's fairly standard. Angel, do you want to go over this or do you want to?
Sure, no, either way. So we don't have a fully flushed draft yet because we still have some language coming in from committees and we still have one more committee to go. But as Xavier was explaining, yes, standard agenda. Licenses and permits has 5 liquor license applications. They also passed a motion regarding the 12 cannabis dispensary applications that they had on their agenda. The motion was to ask for a 30-day extension in their review, which is made available by the Office of Cannabis Management. So they have one motion for all that, but I did list out underneath number 6 all the different applicants, just for your information. Then the Parks Committee had one action item, which support for the 1% for Parks campaign. Land use had no action, human had no action, And Youth and Education has a letter of support for Urban Dove Transfer School. We're still finalizing the language. We were still finalizing the language when I drafted this. Economic Development has two potential items, tomorrow. One, a resolution on designating East Harlem as a cultural district. And then a letter of support for emergency work permits for asylum seekers, that Giselle drafted a resolution for as well. They'll be discussing those at their meeting, not tomorrow, next week. The 21st. And then, tonight's agenda may produce, a motion as well. Then we'll have, under new business at full board, we'll have a liquor license, renewal for, Dish Fruiting LLC, doing business as Allison. Their notice came in after the licenses meeting and too close to this meeting to be added to the agenda. So we have to add it to the full board so we can provide proper notice to the community. And that's all I have on this draft.
And that was I spoke to one of the co-owners with Allison, and it was just a one-off situation. So occasionally these happen, so the board doesn't get up in a tizzy over it. Very good. The only thing I want to add is also from Borough Board, the canvas, there's an overall dissent amongst the community boards with the way this process has been rolled out. And one of the comments I offered at the table is that, or general sentiment, I think not just with our board, but the others, is that they had a perfect model to apply with SLA. And they chose not to do it, for whatever reason, but the analogy they used is that they're trying to fly a plane in the process of building it while serving drinks. Destined to crash, but we are still trying to make it. So that's one comment. Thank you very much. Any questions from our members? Yes, no, sir.
So, the elections happen
yes.
and then the new business?
Mhm.
Okay.
I did my elections, yes.
Right, yeah, it's right after executive, but I don't know why part-time sessions was the last part.
Elections is always the last thing, the last committee to report.
Right,
That's the last committee, then new business is not a committee.
okay.
Any other questions? Now move along to committee chair reports.
Michelle has a hand up again.
Oh, yes, sorry, Michelle. Yes, your question.
Hi. Yes, I wanted to say that because public safety did not reach quorum, we did have a question about writing a resolution to make things specific in why we are saying no for 128th Street. And so I don't know if that is on the table. Because it was not voted upon during the committee meeting.
No, if it wasn't voted on during normal committee business, then it would not necessarily be brought to full board.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Committee chair reports, and sorry about missing that hand, Michelle. Your hand's still up. Do you have a follow-up question?
I do not.
Committee chair reports, licenses and permits is not here. Environment, open space and parks. That's fine.
Yep, so I was not able to be in attendance at our meeting. Malik took over and I heard y'all struggled for quorum, unfortunately. I think we should discuss that at full board. I hate preaching to the choir for people who are here. But try to get that under control. I went back and watched the recording of the meeting, and we had a couple updates from parks, from Randall's Island Park Alliance. They're asking if they can, seeing about getting us some community tickets at either reduced rates or, some free tickets for the Circus Vasquez that they're doing November 17th through the December 4th. We had a request from a committee member to have an update on the Metropolitan Hospital blood wall update. So we heard from them. Sounds like it's all moving forward, but there's some issues with signage for the bus stops and some other things that they need to be better at communicating about. And then we talked about the Earth Day planning for the conference. Spreading around some responsibility, got to get in touch with the Museum of the City of New York to follow up about their availability. And as Angel mentioned, we have one action item, which was old business follow-up for New Yorkers for Parks for the 1% of the city budget towards parks. And then our last item of business was touching on the parks tours planning for next year, which instead of doing parks and playgrounds, Malik's idea is to focus on community gardens, which I think we have a lot of work to do to get to know and understand a little better, see how we can help and be in partnership with us.
Okay, great. Any questions?
I'll just make this comment. The following day, last week, we had the CEC meeting and Rosa mentioned it in our youth and education. They're actually doing 4 climate days during the school year, concentrating on energy and other kinds of things. So we did mention to them that maybe we can get them to also participate in the Earth Day.
Yeah.
And my kind of idea in thinking about it post-secondary was, if they have 4 different areas, maybe we can get a representative school from each of those 4 different areas to present their topic. So I'm gonna reach out to the superintendent.
And about what age would those students be?
They'd be elementary and middle school, so
Okay.
they, and they would be like us out that day, but they've already worked on these projects, which
Right.
then we can highlight.
Yeah,
And it's tying into 4 days. They're doing, district-wide, citywide with these days.
yeah, I think that would be great. Thank you so much, Jim.
Okay, wonderful, thank you. Seeing no other questions. Land use, landmarks and planning, Jason.
You already brought up the City of Yes application. That was pretty much the discussion. We recommended that presented from DCP go to economic development. So then that way we can cross-committee collaborate. And that's pretty much what we're saying. It's under review. I urge the committee, and I'll reinforce it at full board, that the board members get involved, provide any of their questions, particularly questions and or concerns submitted to us in writing, so then that way we can finalize the documents to be sent out to DCP prior to our next committee meeting.
Any questions? So again, we have until January to take a position on all 18 matters. Thank you. Okay. Human Services, Isaac is not here. One little note, they had no action items, but Art Perez resigned. He is, moving. He also has a total knee replacement for the other knee coming up. I'm sure that, and so, but he's enjoyed the work as well and hopes to be plugged in down the line. David, youth and education.
So as mentioned, we had Urban Dove come for a letter of support. They came actually 3 months in a row, first to just introduce that they were acquiring 2 transfer schools from the New Visions Network, the AIM charters, which are the transfer schools. Then they came and gave a full presentation in October, and then came back asking for a letter of support, which we did give. Again, very quickly, Urban Dove is a transfer school that serves youth primarily 14 through 15 that are underserved. So they take them through the whole duration of the school. They use sports as like their foundation and modality, where they have coaches that go with the group, the class, and they call them teams. So they go with the team through 9th, 10th, and 11th, 12th grade. Again, almost like a case manager to help support the child and coming to school and overcoming barriers. They do not want to co-locate. They want their own building because of their programming and doing sports. They need a full gym for themselves and not share it or co-locate in other buildings. They already run programs in both East Harlem and Brooklyn, and that's where both of the schools will be transferring to. We're hoping that they come here if they find a spot. I think that's the real. My understanding is they may co-locate with one of their other schools in the Bronx for the first year and then move to East Harlem when they get the spot up. But he did say he might have an update, right, by our next meeting about the location. So they must have narrowed some stuff down. We've worked with them over the years in the community and also with Children's Aid in different capacities. So again, we feel very important to support that. We did do a letter of support. We are also, as we've really done a lot of concentration with public schools in our district, which we will continue to do and advocate for a lot of the capital projects, but we also want to dig more into the charter schools and also some of the other private schools in our neighborhood. Also, if you don't know Cathedral High School, that was part of the Archdiocese. There's a lot of stuff going around and a lot of stuff we're not sure about, so I'd rather not, but they did move to the Marymount building. We would like to invite them to a meeting, again, to support and understand their transition to the community and how that affects. Again, I don't want to say some things I've heard because it's more hearsay at this point than factual. But I think, you know, again, any entity that comes into the community, such as a lodge, you know, we would hope that we would welcome them into the community and know about it, not hear about it to hear about it. Other than that, we spent a lot of time talking about mission and goals, and I thought it was really good and productive. Because it gave us a chance to see how what members think. You know, we know every few years we have to, the committee changes, even though every 2 years, every year new people come on. Every couple of years it really shifts, and that's what we spend time doing. And then in an attempt to be inclusive, I think we've created a mission that I have to work on this weekend that's really too large and too big. And we have to find ways to edit things and not exclude this group or that group or this person. And I'll just use this example because I did chair the committee for quite a few years. Human Service Committee. And I think Isaac has done a good way of defining where we are with it right now. But at the point I took it over in the chairs after it was the Human Service, Senior, Mental Health, right, Angel, with all these other kind of associations with it, and I think we're almost creating an agenda a mission that should be a little bit narrower, you know, and I thought back to Children's Aid Mission. We're a large agency. Mission's not as long as it is for the community board, and that's just for the committee. But I think again, as it shifts and changes, you know, we want to be respectful of the membership that's part of the committee, what things passion them to do the work. Because we know when people are passionate and inspired by things, it's usually things they're vested in. So we're gonna struggle with that one. I did try to reach out to Angel yesterday to just plug his brain a little bit about what he thought about the mission and being. But I'm not asking you now. Oh, you was off. No, that's fine. You know, look, you don't really. No, tomorrow. Okay. You know, and more of it was like I was sparked at that moment. I needed to talk to somebody that is in the space that, you know, looks at it from a little different perspective than we as the board members. And I think he can be very helpful and help me sort through some of this before going back to the committee. And I even thought about just trying to do a call with some of the committee members that really took a lead in some of the thoughts about how we do it, because sometimes you make things too big and then we do little or nothing.
Yeah.
So.
Right, that's, thank you.
Not a question, but just along those lines, I'm in a committee, we're doing the same thing, outside of this, where I think everyone's goals are very large and we're trying to maintain what's sustainable and actionable. And I think
Achievable.
Right,
That's
exactly.
smart goals.
Smart goals. But you know, when we did the environment, open space and parks goals, I think one way to make sure that nobody feels left out or, you know, it was trying to match up things that are sort of overlapping or aligning in some way and trying
Yeah,
to.
like, we don't have to say every individual person and population in the community, it's the residents that live here, that work here,
Right.
that attend school here, right? But then we're leaving somebody out.
Right, yeah, and I wouldn't, you know, I think we have to be reasonable with our goals, but I would say also that my committee members are asking why we're not talking about our goals, because your committee is talking about your goals, so.
Yeah, but we do things at different times, you're right.
But I think, I do think that like as a board, we should look at when we talk about goals, because I feel like talking about them in January doesn't really make sense with the way that we are aligned with our fiscal
Well, you
year.
know, I think, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's like, we bring in new board members in September, right?
Yeah.
They don't really
They don't
attend
know
when they
anything,
come in
yeah.
May, right? And now they're voting on things they have no clue about,
Exactly.
right? So again, I think, I mean, for me personally, I always try to look at, we start the new year, let's review where we're at.
Yeah,
Some years it goes quick, sometimes we say, okay, we're gonna stay what we work with. This year, we got a whole lot of input,
Yeah.
know,
So that's
That's good.
just to say that I think we're still gonna look at goals and environmental and food parks in January, but I think it would be worth having a realignment to do that in September.
I think that's it, boys. Sorry. I think that's a great idea, and I think it's something that constantly, like the budget request, should be on the calendar, on the agenda constantly, and then, hey, I wanted to add this, and it just comes back to old business, and you can bring it up. And as long as you're recording it and addressing it, but I think that's great work, thank you. I know we did not have, housing this month. John, is there anything you wanna add?
The only thing I really would have wanted to say was to really thank the committee because, I was not at the October meeting, but Dawn and Marlon kept everything on point, and they got the budget request together and got them submitted on time. I just wanted to thank them for doing that.
Okay, great, thank you.
Just, some information for housing, the next text amendment will be housing.
The next what?
The next zoning text amendment,
yeah.
to change the law will be housing. So if you guys can get ahead of it now, it'll make my life easier in January.
Okay.
Maybe.
Is that citywide or?
Land use, maybe. Might be a good idea to have housing join land use.
I would have did that with Echo. I mean, it's always a challenge. The best way is they're gonna eventually get present, but start doing your homework now, so then that way full board doesn't become a committee meeting. Including
Yeah.
economic development and land use.
Yeah.
Well,
You know, and I'll
people
reach
should attend.
out, and I'll reach out to the chair as I've previously done.
Is that just this community or citywide?
That's the
Citywide,
citywide.
citywide. This is, so everyone's on the same page here, and please to remind everyone at full board is that these text amendments haven't been touched since 1961. So it's long overdue, and many of them are antiquated and have stifled growth and whatnot, so I think it is important.
Skyline is
That's why DCP is giving us a long runway, they want to have our feedback. Okay, great, I know we didn't have quorum, but Michelle, anything you'd like to add that was supposed to be discussed with public safety and transportation?
Yes, we wanted to discuss the safety awareness for East Harlem Conference and just to get a look at the flyer. I sent you a copy of this flyer. We are confirming, we have our keynote speaker, who is the retired NYPD Assistant Commissioner Kevin O'Connor, who would be focusing on youth and the juvenile justice system. And then we also have representatives from the 2-3 precinct, the 2-5, PSA 5, District Attorney's Office, Silicon Harlem, Street Corners Resources, Concrete Safaris, and ACES. We are hoping to have we do want to have a lunch, and where we would have an interactive lunch with the elected officials. All of this will be confirmed as hopefully tomorrow. And I just wanted to put a shout out there that we are requesting small funds from each committee, whoever would like to be a part of it, so that we can purchase lunch for our conference. We are hoping for 75 people to attend altogether, and it will be in the Silberman School of Social Work, Hunter College building at 2180 3rd Avenue, which is on the corner of East 119th Street.
What day?
December 1st.
December the 1st.
Have we invited youth to this?
I am inviting youth to this, and I'm inviting every committee to this, and I wanted to discuss with you partnering with this particular conference because it is very youth centric.
Jason had his hand raised, Jason.
Chair, as treasurer, has a CCI been submitted by the Public Safety
I
Committee?
am unaware of this.
Okay, so they need to submit that. They also need to get the chairs to submit on their behalf. And with all due respect, I really don't think there's enough time from now to December first to properly vet it and have the full board approve it. But I know that you as chair can coordinate with the district manager and possibly, but as I stated in full board, our funding was cut extremely this year, and some of those elected officials that we're hinting at, they did not fund us this year, so maybe they can use the funds that they gave to other organizations to fund this gathering.
Angel. I know you were doing a review of our fiscal year and you would let us know if you're not in a position to answer, that's quite all right.
I'm not,
Okay, fine.
it's the first I hear it.
Yeah, all right. Michelle, we'll table that for a moment and we can pick it up tomorrow, over email. Regarding the funding request, because there's a process for that, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Moving along, I'm gonna go to, obviously, CODEP meets next week, elections.
Hello. Hello, everyone. So this is the month where elections will occur. We had a meeting. Luckily, our meetings have resulted in quorum. So we're able to get some work done. And so it was decided that everyone who's in person at the meeting, initially, we had thought about having people to decide if they were in person and they wanted to, and they had their telephones handy, whatever, they could vote online virtually. But it has been decided after discussion that everyone who's in person there will vote in person. And only the people who cannot attend have submitted the proper documentation can opt in to vote online. And so we have, different people have different assignments. And we have decided that because there was only one candidate for office, hopefully y'all can find a way to get elected, that we would not have a forum in person, but you will have the opportunity as always to speak. But this time around, questions will be allowed. So that will work in that manner. Everyone was asked to submit documentation, a resume, plus filling out a survey. And so that will be disseminated to the board so that hopefully they can make the right choices in this most momentous occasion. And with that, it's my report.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're gonna move the agenda along now. Yes.
I wanted to share something on behalf of license department, if I could, just 2 minutes.
Well, no, ship so. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So, wanted to share something that we created for, to help the committee, but I wanted the rest of the board to also be aware of it. I hope this got done correctly. Yes, so on our site, we organized a resources page, to applicant, board member, and community resources. So under applicant, we put everything for example, like the cannabis applicant and the liquor license applicant, there's created pages from there, with all the resources and the forms that we have and our procedures. So it's, everything's there, they can download our procedures, the questionnaire, the hearing notice, the form, for either the cannabis or the liquor license stuff. I should have used liquor license as the example. Completed. This one's 90% there. The liquor license one. So after like a little, brief little blurb and links to all of our forms, then it lays out the steps in the review process for the applicant. And then at the bottom, some of like the rules from the SLA. This is the part that's missing on the cannabis one, which is one little last that I have to do, but it'll look just like that. It'll be like the laws of the state of New York as it relates to cannabis and then links to all that information, so that, any member and then any applicant can just go to that one place, and that's where we have all of our stuff located.
It's great.
Yeah, the
It's
website's
wonderful.
very helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I know when I went on, just saw the first page, is like, yo, I called Angel right away.
No, it's-
And then similarly for, I don't know why I did not backwards, but, letters of support, I'm gonna work on that, but like street code naming, same thing, with another pages for that. That's all, thank you for it.
Thank you. This is great work. I think it's very helpful. Draw it out in crayon. Okay. Old business, if there, and again, my report, full board will basically cover some of the commentary and all the other stuff that attending. Yeah, so old business, due process hearing for members, subject to removal for failure to comply with attendance requirements. Okay, we had. Let me just go here.
This is September to June.
Yeah, so this goes September to June. Yes, Jason.
We're going to executive yet?
We will. Angel, do we have any, we don't have any members of the public.
We do.
We do?
So if I could suggest, just give like a brief, description of what we're about to do, then take the motion. I'll stop the recording, take off the video, you can have executive. And then when you guys are done with that, then I'll restart the recording and restart the video.
Okay. All right, everyone, members of the public, we are getting ready to discuss some attendance issues as it pertains to our bylaws, as also dictated by our bylaws. Sometimes that can deal with sensitive information that has been shared with us and discussed, and that's to be kept in confidence, which is why we have what's called executive session. In executive session, the board members are able to attend, however, because of the proprietary and confidential information that is not disclosed to the public. We will be taking a motion to enter into executive session to discuss those members in question, which I will that was addressed previously. And we will have the discussion. We will then take off the camera, the video and everything and stop the recording. We will then reconvene the meeting to conclude and make an announcement of the positions taken. So with that, I thank you for attending our executive committee meeting. We hope you will join us hybrid when we are at Silverman School of Social Work the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. So with that, I will now entertain a motion to go into executive. Jessica Elliott.
Motion to go into executive session.
Second by Nelson Rama. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? We are now entering into executive session at 7:25 PM. Thank you. Great. We have, motion was made by Jessica Elliott and second by Nelson Rama to exit executive session. Reporting back what was discussed on executive session, the board discussed, the members in question, attendance, and taking a position to recommend for removal one Jihad Chaudhry. There was, the motion was made by Jessica Elliott, second by John Green, with 6 in favor and 1 abstention. The motion carries. With that, we will now move along to any new business. And there's no new business, we will now take roll call for adjournment.
Jessica Elliott. David Giordano, John Green,
Al, happy Thanksgiving.
Nelson Rama,
This is how I deal with
Present.
DD.
Xavier Santiago,
I gotta sit.
Present.
Jason Villanueva,
President.
Michelle Wilson, Finance.
Somebody says the word.
Yeah, Paul.
Great. With that, everyone, I wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you at full board.
Thank you.
Tuesday after.
Take care, everyone.